It's that time of year. We've got our exclusive club of 11, the 11 Triple Crown champions, highlighted in the infield at beautiful Belmont Park from Sir Barton in 1919 all the way through affirmed in 1978. We've said it before, we'll say it again. It would be nice to make it an even 12. And we are off and running. Glad you're with us. It's Andy Serling, Jason Blewitt, all of you on this Thursday edition of Belmont Insider. And we pointed out the Triple Crown winners in the infield. We're 9 days out from American Pharaoh.
It's a very exciting time of year, and I feel like we've been there before in this situation. Obviously, we're dealing with a horse in American Pharaoh. Is going to be a very heavy favorite to get it done, and it is a very difficult task, but it's really just sort of random luck that it hasn't happened over the last 37 years.
We've gotten close. You think of Real Quiet. You think of horses like Smarty Jones, and we'll see what's in store for us on Saturday, June the 6th, with the Derby and the Preakness winner, and a winner of 6 consecutive races. American Pharaoh, who went back to the track, training at Churchill Downs, went out at about 8:30 this morning, had an easy jog over the main track. He, however, really turned some heads Tuesday morning when Bob Baffert flew in. Martin Garcia was up for the work, and he breezed a solid half mile in 48.
One thing we know about him, we know a number of things about him. One thing we know about him, Jason, this is a very, very good workhorse. He's been impressing people with his workouts for a long, long time.
Indeed, he has. Now, regarding reports coming out of Churchill Downs and even what I read and post-race quotes, or I should say post-work quotes, regarding this Tuesday breeze, his energy level's been good, his appetite's been good, and he has not lost any weight since running in 2/3 of the Triple Crown. All systems are go, and his flight to New York is scheduled for this coming Tuesday. In fact, June 2nd, we'll get Bob Baffert in the mix, and he will be alongside you in Rockefeller Center when we draw the Belmont on Wednesday.
It'd be nice to have Bob. It'd be nice to see the Zayats here with that horse, and obviously be a big story when he comes to town. And he's just a very, very exciting racehorse at this point. And, you know, I think one of the things, and I know you'll agree with me, I'd like to see a Triple Crown winner for is I don't want to put up with a month of people telling us they need to change the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes is too long. It's not supposed to be easy, Jason.
Yep, most demanding achievement in all of sports, and American Pharaoh, no worse for the wear. And good to see him out at Churchill Downs as he will pick up the galloping tomorrow, and he'll have that final pre-Belmont work either Sunday or Monday, weather permitting, according to Bob Baffert. Well, we did the old switcheroo. We lost one, we gained one for the Belmont Stakes. That was the news this morning with Conquest Curlinate out. Sounds like they want to point him to the Canadian Triple Crown, but Ken McPeak, who knows a thing or two about upsetting the Belmont Stakes, he has decided to run the Truth or Else, who look pretty good here on May 22nd.
And I know we're rooting. You know, listen, we're hometown guys, and Harold Lerner is part owner of the Truth or Else, is a guy who runs a lot of horses here and is popular, so certainly like to see him do well. This is a very nice horse, the Truth or Else, and listen, there's only one Belmont Stakes, and they want to take a shot. You can't knock them for doing it. It's going to be a Herculean task for this horse. But I'll tell you, we've seen that happen before, Jay.
Indeed we have. Ken McPeak, Edgar Prado, 13 years ago. Unbelievable. Sarava outgaming with Prado up. War Emblem was in the race, going for a Triple Crown sweep for Bob Baffert. Stumbled at the start and lost all chance, but it was Sarava at around 60-1. He was a crazy price, upending the talented Medaglia d'Oro.
Right. It's not as though he sort of got lucky in a bad race and beat a bum. He beat a very, very good horse in Medaglia d'Oro, who, of course, easily won our Jim Dandy and Travers. He beat Repent, actually another Ken McPeak horse, when he beat him in the Travers up in the slop at Saratoga. Sarava never came back from that race, but he beat a good horse.
And we want you to get your beauty sleep tonight, because the alarm will go off for many early on tomorrow, 6 a.m., the workout times for a number of horses, including the Todd Pletcher trio of Made from Lucky, Carpe Diem, and of course Materiality, and there's a few other horses like Frosted Tail of Verb, who are all set to breeze here tomorrow morning over Big Sandy.
It's going to be a very busy day. It'll be nice to see them out there. I will not be getting up early in the morning. You might be up, but you won't be here. But there will be a lot of nice horses on the track, and obviously at this point, it's the Todd Pletcher trio that's a lot of the talk if you're talking against American Pharaoh.
Well, Materiality, I think, is the king of the Pletcher trio, and Todd's already had success in the Belmont, 2 prior wins, Rags to Riches, and had a win just a couple of years ago with Palace Malice. And Materiality seems to be the sort of quote-unquote trip handicapper's darling horse, dropping out of the run for the Roses.
He has to be, and he's, you know, in some ways you don't want to compare him to Curlin, because Curlin's done so much on the racetrack, but in the sense that similar profile, unraced as 2-year-olds, Curlin started out in Florida, did some good things at Oakland Park, or I guess Oakland Park.
Sure.
He didn't run that well in the Derby, but he came right back with the big win when he won the Preakness. And, of course, he was second to Belmont Stakes. Materiality did the damage down at Gulfstream, had a rotten trip when he broke slow. The door slammed on him, shuffled out of the race, big run late in the race, got some experience in the Derby. And Todd decided to wait, probably the right move, missing the Preakness in the rain. He's waiting for the Belmont, and Materiality's a good horse.
And we'll keep you up to speed, NYRA.com, BelmontStakes.com, the Twitter feeds, Dave Grenning, Mike Welsh of the Daily Racing Forum. And again, a busy Friday morning set to be had tomorrow. We are really picking up intensity, and we're picking up the steam as well as we get closer to that June 6th Test of the Champion. What about Thursday's card? It was good to be back off 2 consecutive dark days, and we get things underway with Larry Colmus upstairs, Thursday's third, a group of 3 and up Filly and Mare maidens. And here's Larry.
Cheating, now rushing through on the inside into second and heading after Il Molino to the outside now. Il Molino a half length in front, clearly cheating second. Majestic Empire up running in third. And after that early bobble, Tiger Moth will be fourth and down on the inside, 3 lengths off the lead in the run up the backstretch. Regia Marina is next, and the trailer is Fast Retailing, who's got 6 lengths to make up. The first quarter goes in 22 and 4/5 seconds. A solid opening fraction here for Il Molino, who leads it by a length over Majestic Empire. Clearly cheating is third to the inside. Tiger Moth now taken off the rail for a clear path. 3 lengths off the lead as they move for the turn. Regia Marina's next, and still at the back is Fast Retailing, 46 flat. Still a hot pace as the field rounds the far turn, and Il Molino's lead is down to a neck. Majestic Empire on the outside, second, trying to stick with Il Molino. And to the outside of them, Tiger Moth begins to gain ground. Regia Marina's fourth and going 4 wide on the turn. And then it's Fast Retailing and clearly cheating has had enough as Il Molino is joined by Tiger Moth after 3 quarters in 1:11 and 1. And they're into the stretch. And it's Tiger Moth on the outside, Il Molino at the rail, and Regia Marina coming to take them on the far outside. These 3 into the final furlong. Il Molino at the rail, Tiger Moth between, and Regia Marina to the outside. Tiger Moth's got a neck in front at the 16th pole. Il Molino on the outside, Regia Marina. The 3 of them down to the line, and Tiger Moth did it. Regia Marina was second, and then came Il Molino and Majestic Empire.
Pretty determined between foes. Tiger Moth would not be denied in her second start and Belmont Park debut.
Yeah, it seemed like a real improved effort for Todd Pletcher, who can do very little wrong these days at Belmont Park as he's the leading trainer right now. Fought it out with the 6, who was well-meant coming off the layoff for trainer Bill Mott. And the one, Regia Marina, who both you and I thought had a very good chance in here, she had no excuse whatsoever, Jay.
Ranged up at around the 5/16 pole. Looked like she was going to make a run of it, but fear not, Todd Pletcher, looking dapper in the sport coat and the shades, had enough left in the tank with Tiger Moth and this homebred 3-year-old filly by Street Sense. For John Gunther, the owner and the breeder, she is actually a younger half-sister to the Last Gunfighter, who was a pretty good horse for Chad Brown and John Gunther.
Right, well, actually, the Last Gunfighter is now in Todd Pletcher's barn. To move to him, I thought maybe the horse would show up at Penn National this weekend, but looking forward to seeing him in the entry somewhere.
All right, that was Hall of Famer Johnny V aboard Tiger Moth for a barn that is now 16 for 34 at the meet, batting above 40%. We go 12. We really stretch it out. The 1.5 miles, a distance tonalist won the Belmont Stakes at when we come back on the Widener for our featured fourth. Back here at Belmont Park, the soft light, real pastoral view, just gorgeous and so quiet out here at around 6 p.m. as we continue on with this Thursday edition of Belmont Insider. There is no better place to be on a Thursday, and we amp that up to a different level on Belmont Stakes Day. We want you out here to be a part of history. Limited $15 grandstand admission. Tickets are available at BelmontStakes.com. And how about the rundown and lineup of races? It is very extensive and fitting of Belmont Stakes Festival.
There's going to be a tremendous card of races, really starting with Thursday's races. But Friday, you got that 12:50 post, I believe it's a 10-race car. As you can see, a lineup of terrific racing. The True North coming up, an exceptional race. The New York looks like it'll have Stephanie's Kitten in there, and a lot of guaranteed wagers on both Friday as well as Saturday.
Right, over $4 million worth of guaranteed multi-race wagers throughout Belmont Stakes Festival 2015. It is what it's about. It's nearly here. We hope you'll get your tickets at BelmontStakes.com because you need to be out in the Taj Mahal when American Pharoah goes for history. Race number 4 is the Thursday feature. Mile and a half on the Widener, purse of $80,000, a good crew, and an even better announcer in Larry Kalmus.
Position 3 lengths off the lead early on. Then it's Arctic North to the inside. Sharp Omar near the back of the field along with Days Velo, who trails early on. 8 lengths off of front-running Rapscallion. And Global Strike is 3/4 of a length behind in the very early stages here. Hayarot is third and going up on the outside. Now these 3 are together up front. That opening quarter mile, 23 and 2/5 seconds. Very fast for a mile and a half on the turf here. These 3 setting the pace clear, 2 lengths from Mr. Jenny, who's running in 4th. Arctic North 5th on the inside. Days Velo is 6th. And the trailer is Sharp Omar, and he's still about 8 lengths behind as the field enters the backstretch. Rapscallion makes the pace here in front by a length. Global Strike is 2nd. Hayarot 3rd to the outside of them. Then it's Arctic North, a 47 and 4/2 mile. They're being followed by Mr. Jenny and Days Velo, who is guided to the outside, now 4.5 lengths off the lead, and still well behind is Sharp Omar as they continue their long run up the backstretch here. And it is Rapscallion, the leader by a neck. Global Strike kept close by Javier Castellano, and Hayarot is just to the outside of Arctic North. They're stride for stride, 3rd and 4th through 3/4 and 1:13 flat. Then it's Mr. Jenny, Days Velo to the outside, and Sharp Omar still separated from the field with 9 lengths to make up as they enter the far turn. Since the gates opened, it's been Rapscallion, and the lead is a half a length on Global Strike as they race for the turn. Hayarot is 3rd to the outside, and then it's Arctic North followed by Mr. Jenny, who's down at the rail. Days Velo's alongside, now only 3.5 lengths separate them, and Sharp Omar still last. Around the far turn, Rapscallion, Global Strike, and Hayarot. And these 3 continue to race across the track as they make their way to the top of the stretch. Global Strike is in between horses and has now taken the lead. And they're into the stretch, and it's Global Strike in front. Hayarot to the outside. Days Velo's coming on in the center of the course. And then it's Mr. Jenny. Arctic North is in behind traffic and now comes through an opening on the inside of the final furlong. Hayarot, Global Strike, Arctic North charging up the fence on the far outside. Days Velo and Mr. Jenny, and after a mile and a half, 5 of them sprinted out to the wire, and it's going to be Arctic North up the rail under Irad Ortiz Jr. to win it over Global Strike and Hayarot. Then a photo between Mr. Jenny.
Took a perfect ride and a perfect trip from Irad Ortiz Jr. back at Belmont off that 7-day suspension to upend a couple horses who were battling in the middle of the turf that ran gigantic in the 4th.
Now, this was an exceptional ride by Irad, and you see he kind of ducks out in Irad late, and really there were a couple horses that might have finished 2nd and 3rd here, Jay, but they were not losers in this race because both the 2nd and 3rd finishers ran well, particularly Hayarot ran 3rd, who stumbled a little to break. Now, it affected the 4 as well, but they went after and chased what was a very, very fair pace, and you know me, I like it when they go fast early and they can hang around and run late.
Yeah, Hayarot really stepped up his game in this one for Keir McLaughlin, who we'll see in a race we'll call the co-feature, that is, a good group of 3-year-old fillies ready to rock and roll a bit later in the show for race number 8. In fact, that's where we're going right now on the heels of a 6-year-old gelding getting it done for Pat Reynolds. The 8th race, 3-year-old fillies, good field, and here's Larry.
Sentiero Italia came out running well. Lady of Victory also flashing speed. Moon Medal between those 2. An easy feeling on the inside. These 4 away the best. Then Nicky's Brown Miss, followed by Kitten's Roar, Tapestry to the outside. Lady Bling is next, and Fiery Cat trails the field. 9 lengths off of Lady of Victory and Joel Rosario. And the favorites on the lead as they head up the backstretch. Easy Feeling is 2nd, about a length behind. And then Moon Medal to the outside 3rd. Sentiero Italia's 4th. Nicky's Brown Miss 5th. And on their outside, it's the great Tapestry, who's a bit hard to settle back there in 6th, 4.5 lengths off the lead. And then Kitten's Roar, Lady Bling to the outside, and Fiery Cat last of them all. Lady Victory on top as the field swings into the far turn. Easy Feeling, 3/4 of a length behind. Moon Medal is next after a 46 3/2 mile. Then Nikki's Brown Miss. Sentiero Italia's got 3 lengths to make up and is racing in between horses. And then it's Kitten's Roar racing on the inside of Tapestry. And then the last 2, Lady Bling and Fiery Cat. Lady of Victory still on top as they come toward the top of the stretch. Lady of Victory from Easy Feeling, and here's Moon Medal on the outside of them. Nikki's Brown Miss waits for running room and is down on the inside. Sentiero Italia's next. Kitten's Roar down toward the rail. Tapestry swings up on the far outside. Final furlong. Sentiero Italia forging to the front. Kitten's Roar comes up the rail into second. Then Moon Medal, Tapestry, Lady of Victory back to 5th. Sentiero Italia to win it. And then it was Kitten's Roar, Tapestry, and Moon Medal.
Wow, this was about as impressive an effort as you could have imagined with this filly by Medaglia d'Oro, who's unbeaten in a pair of starts on the turf.
And showing a different dimension. She wired a field in her maiden win on a pretty slow pace, and here, much different. This was a very moderate pace on a course that has not taken much rain, to say the least, and she exploded. When you see gaps like that, Jay, in turf races, it usually indicates a very good performance.
Like seeing that little pat on the neck post-wire beneath jockey Luis Saez, Kieran McLaughlin, Sheikh Mohammed with Godolphin Stable, and we looked at Medaglia d'Oro's runner-up finishing behind Sarov in the O2 Belmont. Well, here you have a homebred filly who's by Medaglia d'Oro, who also took down a respectable field. I mean, there's a few horses in here, more than one, in fact, that have potential.
No, you're going to see some nice non-winners of 1 races this time of the year, and you saw some of the top barns represented. In fact, pretty much all of the top barns represented in this race, and this was a very nice effort. A ton of money came in for Lady of Victory, who set a very moderate pace, and while speed on this Widener hasn't been good since they took the rails out last week, she didn't really run at all in here. A bad performance.
6-5, yeah.
Amazing.
Bad effort. You'll get a good price if you like her down the road. Whether Belmont turns her back or not, we shall see. And, of course, this 3-year-old filly cast in the 8th, a good segue to what awaits on Sunday with the Belmont return of Lady Eli.
Yeah, I mean, Lady Eli is really one of the most exciting horses in the country, and obviously with all the eyes on American Pharoah, you tend to lose sight of so many other things going on, especially the 3-year-olds, and she is probably as good a turf filly, a 3-year-old turf filly, as we've seen in this country in a long time, and it's not going to be an easy race to wonder again. There's 7 horses lining up to run against the turf, and some talent in that field.
And we'll get the Colts and Geldings Saturday in the Pennine Ridge, along with the $300,000 late pick 4. Let's get you back to Thursday's action, however. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, and 9 with Larry C. off the quarter pole.
As they come into the final furlong, Mia and Molly battles on second. Lana's Fortune is third and closing on the outside. Then it's Emerald Pond, but they're coming down to the line. And Javier Castellano and Rock Me Again pull away to win by 2.5 lengths. Lana's Fortune was second, Mia and Molly was third, and Emerald Pond finished at the top of the stretch in 45-4. And leads the way by 2.5 with 1 furlong to go. And then comes Seek to Destroy on the outside, followed by First Ranger. But they've been left behind Attractive Ride and Israel Rodriguez, who are running up the score as they come down to the line. Attractive Ride dominates them. It's going to be a 4-way photo for second, and it goes to Tax Player in a photo with Ganador, and right there too are First Ranger and Seek to Destroy. Stretch, and Rachel's Temper makes a run for the lead. Rachel's Temper to the front. Taking over from No Shanks, Wild Street Girl, as Egyptian Magic ranges up on the far outside as they come past the 16th pole. It is Rachel's Temper in front. No Shanks holds on for second. Rachel's Temper and Joel Rosario to score over No Shanks. Then Egyptian Magic, followed by Wild Street Girl. And it's a big gap to the rest. Into third is Starship Pleasant on the inside, and on the far outside, Lemon Song trying to gain some ground too. Desert Bliss, Extreme outside, and Bargaining Table into the final 16th. And here comes Lemon Song with a rush on the outside. Sun and Moon is there. Coming up the fence is Electro Peg. It's a flying finish, and Electro Peg gets through to win. And then it was Lemon Song, followed by Desert Bliss and Little Ariel. Then Steve, 2:17 on the outside now. Closing in as they turn for home. Flash Pause to catch, 2:17. A length and a half behind. Steve is third at the rail. Flash Pause trying to get another furlong. Flash Pause and Eric Consell 2 in front. And then 2:17 coming up empty late. Steve takes second on the inside as they come down to the line. It is going to be Flash Paws to win. Steve was second, and then 2:17. Mental Iceberg got fourth. Top of the stretch. On the outside, it's Pretty Like Me. On the inside, She's All Even, Pretty Like Me, and She's All Even to the final furlong together. And getting closer now is Birthday Girl, who's third, and gaining ground with each and every stride. Pretty Like Me, here's Birthday Girl on the outside, then She's All Even, followed by Paw Annie. They're coming down to the line, and Birthday Girl gets up to win. A three-way photo for second between Paw Annie, She's All
Birthday
Even,
Girl, Cordelia Velasquez. They got the money 3-1. You mentioned Curlin earlier in the show. Maybe some comparisons to materiality, whether you agree or not. She's a New York-bred filly by Curlin, and we don't have to go back far as we take out Cappy's binoculars for the second look on this Thursday edition of Insider. Talk to me about the 7 Stone-Hearted Lover, who's moving inside off the quarter pole in the yellow cap.
Even watching it, you see how she's turning her head back there in fifth. She just doesn't look comfortable trying to run inside of horses. You can't blame Kendrick Carmouche. He's trying to save ground. He got her inside. But a horse who classically probably want to get outside, he finally tries to get her outside. And here, they're collapsing up front. And as he starts to get her outside, there are horses on her flank, and the 6 in front of her is stopping in her face. And you see Carmouche just gets completely shut off behind horses. And I wonder if the 7 had been in the same spot the 2 was in and going around horses, if she would have gotten her momentum earlier. And I'm not even convinced she couldn't have won this race the way it collapsed in the end. I don't know if you can make money with her the next time because this race fell apart at the end, but she was a little unlucky, not the rider's fault.
Good pick up there. Kendrick Carmouche riding well, and we'll get on to the jockey standings. In fact, with another Thursday down, already day number 22 in the books, and Irad Ortiz Jr. had that 7-day suspension, had not ridden at Belmont Park since Mother's Day, the nightcap, and we'll get on to the jockey standings. Up trainer standings first with Todd Pletcher, who went 2 for 3 on today's card. He is 16 for 34 at the current stand. Chad Brown will see plenty of action this weekend in both the Pennine Ridge, Wonder again, and he's shipping a whole bunch of horses out to Santa Anita for the American Oaks. And there you go with Irad Ortiz Jr., who had not ridden at Belmont Park since the last race on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 17th. He was back with the victory in the 4th race. Javier Castellano has made up quite a bit of ground, and Angel Cruz, who's now a journeyman, tied with a couple of other guys at 16. Arctic North pulled that perfect trip in the 4th. Your question to me, was he claimed? Well, he was for 62.5.
And I wonder if the connections are happy. You get a win, you get claimed. Interesting claim by David Jacobson of Rapscallion from Graham Motion. That's an interesting horse going forward.
At the Iceberg, the last claim on the day, Jeremiah Engelhard off a $14,000 claim in a gapped-out 7th race. Andy liked the winner, a horse that ran well under the gun throughout. And we are under the gun as we come back with that 3rd segment. It's a Friday preview and a couple of highlights on the program, so stay tuned. Back to Belmont Park, 9 days out from that Saturday, June 6th, Belmont Stakes Day program, American Pharoah, and so much more. What a day of championship racing it will be. How about the lineup? 13 races in all, 11:35 a.m. is that first post. The Grade 1 Belmont, the Grade 1 Metropolitan, the Ogden Phipps, the Nod Creek, Manhattan, the Longines Just a Game, the Grade 1 Acorn, plus 4 other stakes worth over $1 million in purses. And we have the guaranteed multi-race wagers to match the firepower on the track.
We've got that smorgasbord of graded stakes on the Belmont card and a veritable plethora of guarantees in those. Races 3 through 5, $250,000. 1 through 5, the pick 5, $500,000, $1 million pick 6, $1.5 million guaranteed pick 4, going through the big races, and a lot of money up for grabs. And a lot of races are going to be extremely exciting.
And in regards to big races, My Loot, who is 6-5 on the line in Friday's 3rd, he's got quite a few of them on his resume. He was stake-faced as a 3- and 4-year-old. First start in 300 days tomorrow off a trainer change to Todd Pletcher.
Going back 2 years as he sort of hangs on the money a little bit, and revolutionary for Todd Pletcher, who had broken his maiden on the inner track, comes back on the inside and beats him. I was surprised to find these numbers, Jay. He's trainer switched to Todd Pletcher going this race. Todd is 16 for 43 25 with trainer switches with 4-year-old and up. I didn't know if that would be the case, but he's running against a horse, Jay, in Integrity, that was flattered when FNX beat Wicked Strong, and this was an excellent effort as he comes off the claim for Jacobson.
Right, sandwiched in between two horses, FNX and Coach Inge, who are both pointing to the Brooklyn on Belmont Stakes Day. And Integrity's got some time since this pickup off Rudy Rodriguez for 62.5, and he has got speed, one of two in the race for trader David Jacobson.
And a very dichotomous situation. He's the controlling speed. My Loot, one thing he doesn't have is speed. Now, this horse, Male, has speed, but Jay, this horse runs better out of town.
He does, and I walked away and thought he was sitting on a big return race early April over at Aqueduct. He was 2-1, and he was a disappointing fifth behind Red Vine at the Big A.
Now, in fairness, Red Vine has gone on to do, he had a huge race at Monmouth last weekend where I think he got a 106 buyer, and it looks like a horse that could be effective in races like the Suburban, even going forward to the Whitney and Woodward. That was a tough field he ran against here, and he'll probably be sitting a reasonable trip off Integrity, but if Integrity moves forward for David Jacobson, he may be tough even if My Loot comes back.
Is that who you took on top for talking horses? Fair enough. Let's move on to race number 8. We had the girls today. We'll get the boys tomorrow. 3-year-olds on the turf. Face the Music, beaten by a good one in Takeover Target.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this horse does Face the Music. And the third finisher in here has entered, but also entered in the Penn Mile. Be interesting to see how Face the Music does because he was fodder for Takeover Target, but still ran very well in running second.
Fundamento, well, Face the Music can't get away from Chad Brown as he has to run against this Gray, who looked beaten a couple of different times at Aqueduct, but somehow, some way, found a way to win and win impressively.
What I'll say is a positive for him is what you're saying. He was kind of green, yet he still got it done. He had a trouble trip in his debut. He's not winning this race against Face the Music if he comes back and runs a similar effort. But he's a not lightly raced horse for a good trainer, and if he steps forward, he can win. He can win here.
From Shug to Chad to Todd, here's the Pletcher-trained colt by Tappet and Tapke, who's been okay on the turf, been pretty consistent.
Yeah, I do feel like the horses ran against, but, aren't that good, but did lose a maiden race to Divisadero, who's the horse that Chad's entry has to beat in our Pennine Ridge on Saturday, and Divisadero may have improved, but his race at Churchill was dynamite.
Nice seeing that blanket close-up finish between about 8 horses on the Saratoga Melon turf. We'll be there in a few weeks. Yeah. And we'll be down in the paddock in less than that. Here's Maggie with who to look for tomorrow.
And it's Paddock Insider time for the Friday card. Going to take a look at race number 7. It is a New York bred 2X. We're going 6 furlongs on the turf, and a horse who has only done that kind of condition once is number 6 in here, Wake Up in Malibu for George Weaver. He is second off a layoff, had a bad start to that dirt race. It got away very slowly, kind of rushed up the 4 to 5 wide, and just kind of ran evenly down the lane. And that's kind of to be expected with the horse coming off the bench. It's a lot of ground to make up with a race that was won on the front end. So I like him getting back to the turf, and I like him sprinting on it as well. He's had success on the surface, but I want to give him another shot going the sprint distance, because to me, despite being a big type horse, he's always so cranked up and always so ready to go. And I hope he is second off the bench. So it's Wake Up in Malibu, your Paddock Insider for today. Guys, back to you.
He'll try to make some noise for George Weaver here tomorrow, Maggie's pick. And how about this guy? He has got his plane ticket punched to the Big Apple. We'll have him Tuesday, June 2nd. He will be in the starting gate Saturday, June 6th, trying to become racing's 12th Triple Crown winner. That'll do it for Andy and myself. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.